So I'm going to continue to work down on this side. I did turn the my picture around. Down on this side and onto the dark shadows of the face. So I have my image here so I can see what I'm doing. This whole side of the face is very, very dark, and even in the ear, there's a lot of dark shadows and just some lighter highlighted areas for the ear. So I'm going to kind of start adding some graphite to darken this up. Make sure I erase my grid. This whole area is pretty dark. So I'm holding the pencil at the top so that way I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. I'm not going straight down, so I'm not using the tip of the pencil, so I'm not drawing like lines into my work. I'm using it at an angle, very lightly, just allowing the pencil to add graphite on. So I'm kind of mapping out where my shadows go because these ones are so dark. Normally I would just do this with the blending stump, but because these ones are so dark, I need to get more graphite onto the paper. So he does have some like shadows that kind of come up on the side. Closer to the mouth. This area in the cheek is a little bit lighter, but it's still dramatically darker than this side of the cheek. So I will be gradually darkening that area up. I don't want to make it too dark, but it definitely needs to be darker than the other side of his face. So for the ear, I'm just going to kind of do the same thing, figure out where my shadows are, kind of place them. I can always come back in with the eraser and highlight some areas. So it looks kind of flat because it does need to be darker. And sometimes when you draw the ears, they do look like they stick out until you get your hair drawn. So if you're working on yours and you haven't drawn the hair yet, because you're not supposed to until the end, and your ears look like they're just sticking straight out, and your guy looks like they, or your girl, or whoever you're drawing, looks like they just have ginormous elephant ears, it is most likely because they don't have the hair and it just looks pretty flat, and that's fine. All of this will be darkened up. And then once you even add the hair, sometimes you have to go back in and fix some shadows, and that's fine. So obviously it needs to be darker, so I'm going to do another layer and darken this whole side up, even up here. So I'm going to take my graphite pencil and I'm just going to darken this up, basically going over the exact same shadows and stuff that I currently have, just another layer to continue to darken them up. Okay, and I'll probably do that off camera. And I'm probably going to darken this shadow up over here on this side of the cheek and the chin. So now that I pretty much have it all laid out, I'm going to go back in, looking at my image, find the darker shadows that need to be darkened up, and do a kind of another layer to darken them up further. And I will probably do that off camera. And once again, I left the mouse on the screen.